Hi all. So two quick things before I keep going with the motivational activity. First, sorry for the mobile format. I tried all my recording apps on my computer, but none of them worked. So we're gonna see how this turns out. Um, but secondly, I was not able. This is kind of a disclaimer. I was not able to fully demonstrate my motivational activity because it's kind of hard to do without an actual student population to execute it. So with that in mind, I felt that it was more practical and probably better if I just explained it rather than having me demonstrate it by talking to myself. So, um, so with that in mind, I'll try my best to explain all the steps and how everything works. Yeah, so thank you for your patience with that. So jumping right into some background, my lesson is on the Zimmermann telegram and U.S. entry into World War One. It's a part of a larger unit about the Progressive Era and the early 1900s, like 1900 through 1926, I think. And basically, it's like World War One. We've got some stuff from like industrialization of the United States, urban areas. We're going to talk about like diseases and like improvements to technology and things like that. So it's a really cool unit where like the pace of things just kind of starts to pick up. So I'm really excited to one day teach it. In essence, my motivational activity is a brainstorm. I've been calling it the rapid fire brainstorm format. So basically, the idea is that it takes about 5 minutes in total. The first 2-ish minutes are dedicated to students going up to the whiteboard. I'll ask them all to go up there and write down at least one cause they can think of why a nation might go to war. So that could be like a political reason, economic reason, alliances, anything you could think of. And then after they've written some down, after the time limit's up, I'll have them go and sit back down, where we'll begin like a short class discussion, probably about like the remainder of probably about 2 minutes if that goes a little longer. We'll have like some students explain their answers. I'll pick out a couple that kind of particularly apply to the coming lesson, the U.S. entry, like part of their main reasons, if there are any that align. And then there'll be a couple of questions that will go along with it to kind of spark their interest and get them thinking about what will be coming next. So the first would be why why do you think the U.S. joined World War One? So by this point, they probably won't know why. There might be a couple kids who know why the U.S. joined World War One, but they now are thinking about these factors of why a country might go to war. They're thinking of the U.S. It kind of is a good lead in to the next activities that are to come in the lesson. And then after that would come why do you think the US would go to war today? So it kind of connects it back into the present, gives them that kind of emotional connection to like, oh wow, like this happened in the past, this happens now, this will happen in the future. So it gets them thinking about history as an application or have as having an application to present and future events. So that is something that also is a very I guess like kind of an unintended intended kind of additional bonus you get. Um this activity I think is it's really good for a class that like is kind of on their toes with being being good at like discussing things and has pretty good content knowledge. Um, I have never, like I said, I haven't been able to demonstrate it or test it, but from what it seems so far, it seems like it should be a pretty good format for a motivational activity. It does utilize the multiple intelligences. Like it's very visual and kinesthetic with like writing up on the whiteboard. It has like an auditory component where you're talking to your other group mates, you're hearing them. It engages several different areas of learning. So that is also a helpful factor as well. Um, it's got that emotional connection. I know it said in the rubric that there was like um, a strong emotional connection was pretty good, but I didn't see like beyond the question asking like why do you think the US might go to war today? I don't really see as much opportunity for an emotional connection for the students, but who knows? It depends on the students and how they react. So I guess it would just be down to the class. But it also uses that higher order thinking and like gets them like ready to delve deep below the surface kind of each event in in the sequence. So like it'll get them thinking about like, okay, so here are the causes of World War One, the assassination of the Archduke, the powder keg of Europe, like those kinds of things we already talked about in previous classes. Now here is why the US is entering World War One. And so like those two things, like the similarities and the differences, maybe that's a something we could like a compare and contrast kind of activity of like talking about the different countries as they entered the war and what they did similar, what they did differently. That's something that I just kind of thought up on the spot just now, but maybe there's something to that as well. Um, so yeah, I think it could be a really good motivational activity. Like I said, it doesn't need a full class size to kind of like fully engage in the discussion and to write everything up on the whiteboard. And even though my wall is pretty blank, it doesn't really work well as a whiteboard, so it's kind of strapped for time and resources. But yeah, if you have any questions or suggestions or comments, feel free to comment on however you can do that. So yeah, thank you.